The Hyperion's warning klaxons shattered the routine of deep space patrol. Captain Olivia Blackwood's hands tightened on her command chair as the massive battleship's air reported multiple distress signals for Research Station Omega. The station had gone silent 3 hours ago, and now she knew why. Multiple hull breaches detected at the station. Lieutenant Reg Patel announced from his tactical station, dark eyes fixed on the holographic display. Life support is offline. No survivors detected. Blackwood rose from her chair, her tall frame casting a shadow across the bridge's main viewport. At 2 kilometers long, the HS Hyperion represented humanity's greatest achievement in military engineering, though few beyond Earth's defense force knew its true capabilities. Show me the attack pattern analysis. The holographic display shifted, revealing scorch marks and debris patterns around the research station. Commander Kenzo Tanaka, her first officer, stepped forward, his weathered face grim. "Those aren't plasma burns, Captain. Whatever hit them used some kind of particle beam technology we've never encountered." "Incoming vessels detected." Patel's voice cut through the tension. 3 signatures, configuration unknown. They're emerging from fold space. The bridge crew watched as 3 arrow-shaped vessels materialized against the backdrop of stars. Their hulls gleamed with an iridescent purple sheen that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "First contact," Blackwood breathed, then straightened her uniform. "And they've already drawn first blood. Lieutenant Wei, open all frequencies." Before Communications Officer Jessica Wei could respond, the alien vessels opened fire. Streams of violet energy lanced toward the Hyperion, only to dissipate harmlessly against its shields. "Shields holding at 99%, reported Chief Engineer Dmitry Volkov through the ship's comm. "Their weapons are powerful, but our quantum barrier technology is leagues ahead." Blackwood's expression hardened. "They attacked a civilian research station, killed over 300 scientists and their families. Lieutenant Patel, target their weapon systems. Let's show them humanity isn't as defenseless as they thought." The Hyperion's response was devastating. Instead of energy weapons, magnetically accelerated tungsten rounds struck the alien vessels at relativistic speeds. Their shields, designed to defend against energy attacks, might as well have been tissue paper. "Direct hits," Patel reported with quiet satisfaction. 2 vessels disabled. The third is attempting to retreat. "Captain," Wei called out, "we're receiving a transmission. Universal Translator is processing. It's some kind of automated message. They're calling themselves the Drachnid Empire." The main screen flickered to life, showing a reptilian face with 4 eyes and metallic scales. The message was brief but clear. Human space was now claimed by the Empire. Surrender or face extinction. "Well," Blackwood said, a slight smile playing at her lips, "I suppose we should send our reply. Lieutenant Wei, prepare to broadcast on all frequencies. Lieutenant Patel, target their engines. Let's make sure at least one of them makes it home to report what happened here." The Hyperion's next volley disabled the retreating vessel's engines with surgical precision. As it drifted in space, Blackwood stepped forward, her voice clear and firm as she delivered humanity's response. "This is Captain Olivia Blackwood of the human spaceship Hyperion. You attacked a civilian research station. You murdered hundreds of innocent people. You demanded our surrender. Here's humanity's answer. We do not bow to threats. We do not surrender to bullies, and we most certainly do not forgive those who harm our people. Consider this your only warning. Human space is off-limits to the Drachnid Empire." The disabled ships floated silently in space, their crews presumably reassessing their assumptions about humanity's technological capabilities. Commander Tanaka approached Blackwood, speaking quietly. "They'll be back. And next time they'll bring more ships." "Good," Blackwood replied, watching as rescue shuttles launched to search for any survivors among the station wreckage. "Because next time we'll be ready. And they'll learn why humanity spent centuries preparing for this moment." She turned to address her crew. "Send word to Earth Defense Command. The galaxy just got a lot smaller and a lot more dangerous, but they picked the wrong species to intimidate." As the Hyperion moved to secure the sector, long-range sensors detected numerous fold space signatures heading away from human territory. The Drachnid Empire was retreating, but Blackwood knew this was just the beginning. Humanity's age of isolation was over, thrust into a galactic community by violence and tragedy. But as she watched her crew efficiently coordinate rescue operations and secure the disabled alien vessels for study, Blackwood felt a surge of pride. Humanity had spent its history preparing for this moment, learning from its own violent past, developing technologies that combined the best of defensive and offensive capabilities. The Drachnid Empire had made a crucial mistake. They assumed humans would be like the other species they'd conquered, technically inferior and easily cowed by superior numbers. Instead, they'd awakened a sleeping giant, one that had spent centuries expecting this very moment. "Commander," Blackwood called to Tanaka, "begin analysis of their ships. I want to know everything about their technology, their weaknesses, and their capabilities. Something tells me we're going to need that information sooner rather than later." As the crew carried out their orders, the stars seemed to watch silently, witnesses to humanity's first steps onto a much larger stage. The galaxy would never be the same, and neither would humanity. The age of isolation was over. The age of humanity had begun. 2 weeks after the Drachnid encounter, the Hyperion patrolled the edge of human space, its sensors scanning the void for any sign of returning hostile forces. Captain Blackwood stood in the ship's observation deck, watching distant stars shimmer through the reinforced viewport when the alert came. Captain to the bridge, Priority 1, Lieutenant Wei's voice carried unusual urgency. "We're picking up an unusual distress signal." Blackwood found her bridge crew gathered around a holographic projection of a sleek vessel, unlike anything they'd encountered before. Unlike the aggressive angles of Drachnid ships, this craft featured smooth, organic curves that seemed to flow like liquid metal. The signals using a fragment of our own communication protocols. Commander Tanaka reported, puzzled, as if they'd decoded part of our transmissions but couldn't quite replicate them. "Show me the vessel's status," Blackwood ordered, settling into her command chair. "Heavy damage to their propulsion systems," Chief Engineer Volkov reported remotely from engineering. "Their power signature is fascinating. They're using some kind of solar energy matrix I've never seen before." Before Blackwood could respond, Lieutenant Petal straightened at his tactical station. Multiple fold space signatures detected. Drachnid vessels, at least 5 of them. They're pursuing the damaged ship. "Plot an intercept course," Blackwood commanded. "Looks like we're about to find out why they're running." The Hyperion's massive engines flared to life, pushing the battleship through space toward the unfolding drama. As they approached, the damaged vessel transmitted again, this time with visual data. The bridge crew fell silent as they saw the aliens for the first time. They were humanoid, but their skin held a subtle luminescence, as if starlight lived just beneath the surface. Their captain, visible in the transmission, had features that seemed to shift like flowing water, yet maintained a distinctly feminine appearance. "I am Ler Ravel of the Solarian vessel Lightweaver. The alien captain spoke, her words translated by the ship's AI. "We seek asylum. The Drachnid Empire destroyed our homeworld when we refused to share our solar technology. We are among the last of our kind." Blackwood's expression hardened. "This is Captain Olivia Blackwood of the HS Hyperion. Hold your position. We'll handle your pursuers." The Drachnid ships emerged from fold space, weapons already charging. This time, however, they held back, obviously wary after their previous encounter with human technology. "They're hailing us," we announced. The reptilian face of a Drachnid commander filled the main screen. "This is War Leader Kraz of the Empire. The vessels you protect are criminals against the Imperial throne. Stand aside, or be destroyed with them." Blackwood rose from her chair, her voice cold. "War Leader Kraz, your empire murdered hundreds of our civilians 2 weeks ago. Now you're pursuing refugees whose only crime was refusing to surrender their technology. I'll make this simple. Leave now, or face the consequences." "You dare," Kraz snarled. "We are 5 ships to your 1. "And we are 1 ship that disabled 3 of yours without taking significant damage," Blackwood replied. "Care to test those odds?" The Drachnid ships began to spread out, attempting to flank the Hyperion. Blackwood had expected this. "Lieutenant Patel, implement maneuver Echo 7. Let's show them some new tricks." The Hyperion's response was unexpected. Instead of firing its main weapons, the massive ship released a cloud of what appeared to be debris. The Drachnid vessels ignored it, focusing their fire on the battleship's shields. "Their weapons are having minimal effect," Volkov reported. "Shields holding at 95%. "Now," Blackwood ordered. The debris cloud suddenly came to life. Hundreds of tiny drones activated, each carrying a scaled-down version of the Hyperion's kinetic weapons. They swarmed the Drachnid vessels like angry insects, their small size making them nearly impossible to target effectively. Within minutes, 3 of the Drachnid ships had lost weapons capability. A 4th lost engine power. The 5th, War Leader Kraz's vessel, began to retreat. "Shall we disable their engines?" Patel asked, fingers hovering over his console. Blackwood considered for a moment. "No, let them run. Let them tell their empire what happens when they threaten those under human protection." As the last Drachnid ship disappeared into fold space, the Hyperion turned its attention to the Solarian vessel. Engineering teams were dispatched to assist with repairs, and Captain Neravel was invited aboard. In the Hyperion's conference room, the Solarian captain's luminescent features shifted with emotion as she shared her people's story. The Drachnid Empire had demanded their revolutionary solar energy technology that could power entire planets with minimal infrastructure. When the Solarians refused to become weapons manufacturers for the Empire, the Drachnids responded with genocide. "Your ship," Neravel said, her voice filled with wonder. "Your technology. It's unlike anything we've encountered." The Drachnids thought they were the most advanced species in this sector of space. They were wrong. Humanity spent centuries preparing for threats from the stars, Blackwood explained. "We developed our technology with one goal, survival. But now, perhaps, we can use it for something more." Commander Tanaka, who had been quietly observing, leaned forward. "Your solar technology. Could it be adapted for other purposes?" Neravel's features brightened literally, her skin glowing more intensely. "Combined with your kinetic weapons and quantum barriers, the possibilities are extraordinary." Blackwood smiled. "Then perhaps this meeting was fate. Your people need protection. We need allies who understand the threat the Drachnid Empire poses. And together, We might just have the technology to ensure they never destroy another civilization. As the Hyperion's crew began working with the Solarian refugees, integrating their technologies and sharing knowledge, long-range sensors detected increased activity in Drachnid space. The Empire was mobilizing, gathering its forces for what would surely be a massive response. But for the first time since the destruction of Research Station Omega, Blackwood felt truly optimistic. Humanity had found allies, ones whose technology complemented their own in ways neither species had imagined possible. The galaxy was changing. The Drachnid Empire had wanted to demonstrate its power by conquering humanity. Instead, they had catalyzed an alliance that would reshape the balance of power among the stars. And this was only the beginning. The Hyperion's war room buzzed with activity 1 month after the rescue of the Solarian refugees. Holographic displays showed an ever-growing network of alien species making contact with human space, each with their own story of Drachnid oppression. Captain Blackwood studied the tactical display with Commander Tanaka and Neiravel, watching as another diplomatic signal arrived. "The Meridians have pledged their support," Lieutenant Wei announced, adding another point of light to the holographic map. "That makes 15 species now." "The Meridians." Tanaka raised an eyebrow. "Their stealth technology is legendary. Even the Drachnids can't track their ships." Neiravel's luminescent features rippled with excitement. They've been waiting centuries for this opportunity. The Empire couldn't find their homeworld, but they found everyone else's. The Meridians watched, gathered intelligence, and waited. Blackwood was about to respond when Chief Engineer Volkov burst into the war room, his usually calm demeanor replaced with barely contained excitement. "Captain, you need to see this. The Solarian-human hybrid technology. We've done it." The group followed Volkov to the Hyperion's main engineering bay, now transformed into a joint laboratory where human and alien scientists worked side by side. In the center stood a prototype weapon that seemed to bend light around itself. "We combined Solarian solar matrices with our kinetic weapon designs," Volkov explained, gesturing to the device. But then the Meridian engineers added their phase shift technology. Watch. The prototype activated, firing at a test target. The beam appeared to vanish halfway to its destination, only to reappear inside the target's shields, bypassing them completely. "It phases through shields," Tanaka whispered in awe. "Better." Volkov grinned. "It can phase through hull plating. We can target specific systems without destroying entire ships. Disable without destroying." Before they could discuss the implications, Lieutenant Petal's voice came over the comm. "Captain to the bridge, emergency priority. The Drachnid Emperor is broadcasting across all known frequencies." The bridge's main screen displayed a massive Drachnid figure, its scales gleaming with cybernetic enhancements. Emperor Korthax's 4 eyes glowed with barely contained rage as he spoke. To the species who dare rebel against the natural order, the Emperor's translated voice boomed, "Your time is over. The human vermin have poisoned your minds with dreams of resistance. In 3 days, the full might of the Drachnid Empire will purge this sector of space. Submit now or face extinction." As the transmission ended, sensor data flooded in. Over 200 Drachnid warships were gathering at their empire's borders. But something about the data caught Blackwood's attention. "These energy readings," she mused, "they're different from before. They've adapted their technology." "They've been studying the debris from our previous encounters," Volkov confirmed. "Their shields will be more effective against our conventional weapons." Neiravel stepped forward, her glow pulsing with determination. "Then we adapt faster. The Solarians have hidden archives of technology we never shared with anyone. With your permission, Captain, I'll have them transmitted to the Hyperion. Do it. Blackwood nodded. And contact the Meridians. I want to know every weakness in the Empire's defense grid. It's time we took the fight to them. Over the next 72 hours, the Hyperion became the center of an unprecedented cooperation between species. Meridian stealth experts worked with human tactical officers. Solarian energy specialists merged their knowledge with us engineers. A dozen other species contributed their unique insights and technologies. But it was a discovery by Lieutenant Wei that changed everything. While coordinating communications between allied species, she noticed a pattern in Drachnid transmissions. Their entire command structure relies on cybernetic links, Wei explained to the gathered War Council. The Emperor's augmentations don't just enhance him, they literally connect him to every ship and commander in the fleet. A central point of control, Tanaka realized, and a central point of failure. Blackwood leaned forward, her mind racing with possibilities. If we could disrupt that network, the entire fleet would be thrown into chaos, Niravel finished. But reaching the Emperor's flagship, it would be suicide. A new voice joined the conversation. A Meridian commander, his form barely visible thanks to his species' natural camouflage abilities, stepped from the shadows. Not if they cannot see the ship attacking them. The plan that emerged was audacious. While the Allied fleet engaged the Drachnid Armada, a small strike team would use Meridian stealth technology to approach the Emperor's flagship. The new hybrid weapons would allow them to pierce its defenses, and a specially designed virus would corrupt the cybernetic command network. As the deadline approached, Blackwood addressed the assembled fleet from the Hyperion's bridge. Ships of 15 different species hung in space around them, each contributing their unique strengths to the coming battle. The Drachnid Empire believes they face a ragtag group of rebels, she began, her voice carrying to every vessel. They expect us to fight separately, to fall one by one. Instead, they face the combined strength of 15 civilizations, each bringing centuries of unique knowledge and technology to this fight. She paused, looking at her diverse bridge crew, human, Solarian, and others working as one. Today, we show them the power of unity. Today, we prove that tyranny falls when the oppressed stand together. Today, we make history. As she finished speaking, long-range sensors detected the Drachnid fleet entering the sector. Leading them was the Emperor's flagship, a behemoth 5 times the size of the Hyperion. All ships, battle positions, Blackwood commanded. Remember the plan. Fight smart, fight together, and show them what happens when the galaxy stands as one. The largest space battle in known history was about to begin, and its outcome would determine the fate of countless civilizations. As the Hyperion moved into position, Blackwood felt a strange calm. Win or lose, this day would change the galaxy forever. The storm had gathered. Now it was time to face it. The void erupted in light as 200 Drachnid warships emerged from fold space, their hulls gleaming with enhanced shielding. The Emperor's flagship, the Dominion, dwarfed all other vessels, its massive form bristling with weapon emplacements. Captain Blackwood stood on the Hyperion's bridge, watching as the Allied fleet moved into predetermined positions. The plan relied on perfect timing and cooperation between species that, until recently, had never worked together. Meridian Stealth Squadron reports ready, Lieutenant Wei announced. Strike team is in position. Solarian solar matrices at full capacity. Naylor Vel reported from her station. Ready to initiate electromagnetic surge on your command. The Drachnid fleet's opening salvo lit up space, a wall of energy weapons rushing toward the Allied lines. But the combined fleet was ready. Solarian vessels projected energy-absorbing fields, while human ships launched swarms of defensive drones. The Drachnid attack scattered harmlessly. Launch Operation Shadowfall, Blackwood commanded. The battle erupted in earnest. While the main fleets engaged, the invisible Meridian ships, carrying the strike team, slipped through the chaos toward the Dominion. The Hyperion led a direct assault on the Drachnid center, its new hybrid weapons piercing through supposedly enhanced shields. Their adaptation isn't complete, Commander Tanaka observed as another Drachnid cruiser lost power. They only prepared for our previous tactics. But the Empire's ships were far from helpless. Their sheer numbers began to tell, overwhelming smaller Allied vessels with concentrated fire. The battle descended into a massive furball of ships, energy weapons, and kinetic rounds. Strike Team reports they've reached the Dominion, Wei called out, initiating cyber assault. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then suddenly, the massive flagship's weapons went dark. Across the battlefield, Drachnid ships began losing coordination, their formation breaking apart. The virus is working, Tanaka reported. Their command network is. His words cut off as the Dominion's engines flared to life, the massive ship turning toward the Hyperion. Emergency broadcast from the Emperor, Wei announced, her voice tense. Emperor Korthax's face appeared on screens across the Allied fleet, his cybernetic implants glowing with fury. You think to defeat us with technology. We are the Drachnid Empire. We evolve. We adapt. The transmission cut off as the Dominion's main weapons powered up. But something was wrong. Energy began cascading across its hull in uncontrolled waves. The virus, Volkov's voice, came over the comm. It's causing a feedback loop in their power systems. The whole ship's going critical. All ships, clear the blast radius. Blackwood ordered. Meridian team, get out of there. The Dominion's hull began to crack, lines of burning energy spreading across its surface like lightning. In its death throes, the massive flagship fired its weapons randomly, catching friend and foe alike in its final moments. The Hyperion rocked with impacts as it helped coordinate the evacuation of the danger zone. Then, in a flash that temporarily blinded every sensor in range, the Dominion exploded. The shockwave rippled through space, damaging dozens of ships caught too close. When the sensors cleared, the battlefield had transformed. Without their command network, the remaining Drachnid ships fell into disarray. Some continued fighting, some attempted to retreat, and others simply powered down their weapons. Captain, White called out, her voice filled with awe. We're receiving surrenders. Not just from ships, from entire sectors of the Empire. The cybernetic network, it didn't just control their fleet, it controlled their whole society. As the Allied fleet began securing surrendered vessels and rescuing crews from disabled ships, Blackwood stood at her viewport, watching the aftermath of the largest space battle in known history. The Empire's finished, Tanaka said quietly, joining her. But what comes next? Blackwood smiled slightly. That's the real challenge, isn't it? Building something better from the ashes. The battle for tomorrow was over. The task of building that tomorrow was about to begin. 1 month after the Battle of the Dominion, the Hyperion orbited a neutral space station where representatives from dozens of species gathered to shape the galaxy's future. The station's massive conference chamber had been modified to accommodate beings of all sizes and environmental needs. Captain Blackwood stood before the assembled delegates, her dress uniform pristine, her expression solemn. Behind her, a massive viewport showed the combined fleet that had won their freedom, ships of every size and design, working together to maintain peace in the former Empire's territory. The Drachnid Empire rose through division. She addressed the gathering. They conquered us one by one, using our differences to keep us apart. Today, we have the opportunity to build something new, not through force, but through cooperation. The following days saw intense negotiations as former enemies became reluctant partners. The Hyperion's crew worked tirelessly, helping coordinate relief efforts to worlds devastated by the Empire's final struggles. In engineering, Chief Volkov led teams of multi-species specialists in developing new technologies that combined the best aspects of each civilization's achievements. The Solarians' solar matrices were being adapted to power entire planetary systems. Meridian stealth systems were being modified to create early warning networks. But the most significant change came from the Drachnids themselves. With their cybernetic control network destroyed, many began to remember their species' past. Before the Emperors, before the cybernetic enhancement program that had turned them into willing slaves. A Drachnid scientist named Vextor, her scales unmarred by cybernetics, worked closely with the Alliance. Our ancestors were explorers, she explained during a council session. The Emperors perverted our drive to explore into a need to conquer. We want to find that original path again. The Galactic Concordat was born from these discussions. Not an empire, but a cooperative of species working together while maintaining their independence. The Hyperion became the symbol of this new era, its crew representing the possibility of different species working as one. As the formal ceremonies concluded, Blackwood found herself back on her bridge, watching ships of former enemy species conducting joint patrol missions. "It's strange," Ninavel said, her luminescent features shifting thoughtfully. "A month ago, we were fighting for survival. Now we're building research stations together." "That's the true test," Commander Tanaka added. "Not whether we could win the war, but whether we could win the peace." Lieutenant Weiskomsol chimed. "Captain, we're receiving a priority message from Earth Defense Command. They're asking about strange energy readings from the unexplored regions beyond former Drachnid space." New mysteries to solve, Blackwood smiled. "And this time, we face them together." She squared her shoulders, feeling the familiar excitement of exploration. "Set course for the anomaly. Let's see what else the galaxy has in store for us." As the Hyperion engaged its engines, more ships fell into formation: Solarian, Meridian, even a few Drachnid vessels under Vextor's command. They were no longer just allies of convenience, but partners in exploration. The battle against the Empire had changed them all. Humanity had proven itself on the galactic stage, not just through military might, but through the ability to unite different species toward a common goal. The Solarians had found a new home among the stars. The Meridians had emerged from hiding to help shape the future. Even the Drachnids were finding their way back to their true nature. The Hyperion's story had begun with a single act of defiance against tyranny. It had evolved into something far greater, a testament to the power of cooperation, innovation, and hope. As the ship and its companions entered fold space, heading toward new adventures, Captain Blackwood reflected on their journey. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, but its greatest marvel was perhaps the simplest. When different peoples came together, not in conquest, but in friendship, anything was possible. The legacy of their victory would echo through the stars for generations to come, not as a tale of war, but as a story of how diversity became strength, how enemies became friends, and how the darkness of space became a little less empty. The end.